Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Zach. I live in this big Sprinter van here with my dog Winter, and I'm here to talk with you about the exciting topic of the carpet I installed permanently on the floor in my van. It's fairly controversial. I don't see a lot of people putting down carpet. I see some form of hardwood floor look-alike or actual hardwood floor with the piece together flooring. I see some of those hard rubbers that people put in like a garage area. For me, I really like the carpet because one, it doesn't transfer heat or cold nearly as much as a harder floor. And two, a lot of people, including myself, when I had just the original subfloor in there, put down carpet anyways. So I thought I would skip straight to just having full-time carpet and see if it really does go through as much wear and tear as everybody expects. So after this, we'll get started and dive right in.
If you feel it, just dance along, dance along, dance along. Yeah, if you feel it, just dance along. Got to keep the feeling going on and on. Yeah, if you feel it, just dance along, dance along. Oh, it just feels so good.
Here's my van, Gertie. She has had carpet basically in it for about 1.5 years now, give or take a few months. It was like December and my feet were absolutely freezing because, and the harder surfaces transfer heat way more. And I was like, what if I got the carpet squares that you see in like office buildings? They just buy boxes and boxes of those. That way, if the carpet gets damaged or starts to come up, you just put a new square down. I figured it'd be at Home Depot, so I went and I found them. They were, I think, $65 a box. I bought 2 boxes because I had no idea how much space it would cover. I think they're 60 square feet, or give or take, which if you cut out all of the furniture areas, that's probably about where my van's sitting as far as just bare floor, even underneath the bed. So these bugs are my friends, so if you see them flying around, it's the way it is in this spot. I think they live in the sand and they just fly around my head for hours on end. So I actually covered everything on the floor where I walk and everything underneath. That helps with sound deadening in the back, so when my stuff is moving around or bouncing around when I'm going over bumps, it doesn't make as much noise. Also, it adds friction, and that added amount of friction stops things from sliding around so much. So when I stop fast, I don't end up with a bunch of stuff that may be on my floor or underneath the bed sliding up in between the bed or sliding up in between the chairs. So it's going 45 miles an hour through a town in Colorado. The guy ran through a stop sign right in front of me. I was right next to like an SUV, like I think it was like a RAV4. And I saw what was coming before they did and started braking and actually stopped behind them. As everybody else, it was 4 lanes of traffic, 2 going each way, slammed on their brakes to stop so this Suburban could go flying through the intersection. And I ended up with all of my stuff underneath my bed, slid all the way up between the aisle and everything. So everything I have back there is kind of heavy at the bottom, and everything is weighed down really good. And I have big heavy stuff that's not perfectly aligned with my aisle to prevent that, along with the carpet. The carpet has really helped with the sound. It's really helped with the friction. So why did I go with carpet? So the thing I really love about the carpet is it doesn't transfer that heat or that cold nearly as much. If you've walked with bare feet on a cold floor in the morning or whenever, then you know what it feels like to walk on the floor in a van, except it basically feels like that all the time unless it's hot outside. If it's at all cooler than the van, so if you ever have the heater on, the floor always feels ice cold. It also, you can almost feel the cold radiating up. Carpet also adds kind of a more homey feel, a little bit more sound deadening. I really like that. I don't have to wear any socks or shoes at night unless I go up into the cab. Then stepping on that It's kind of a hard, squishy plastic. Stepping on that is really cold. So I definitely enjoy the lack of temperature transfer, especially the cold. But I don't really notice an issue, and I think it also kind of helps to regulate the heat better. I noticed the van is definitely more insulated since I did that, and then I doubled my insulation in the roof, and that made all the difference for the van staying warm and staying cool when I need it to, respectively. So on the negative side with the carpet, it wears out pretty quickly. It definitely is worn out after a year. The squares will start to move a little bit and separate, and you can definitely tell where the more trafficked areas are. And when I look at like the new carpet, relatively new carpet that's just underneath the bed, which I'm never going to switch out unless it gets really dirty, the stuff I walk on just looks dead. So the plan is to replace it probably late summer, and then I'll have fresh stuff going into the winter when I actually spend a lot more time inside, so it's nice to have. So along with the negative of wearing out quickly, it also needs to be vacuumed a lot, and then if it gets dirty and then it gets water on it or any other kind of liquid, that'll stick immediately. Cleans fairly easily, and I'll tell you in a few minutes what I do if it gets stained even worse. I have a pretty quick and easy method for getting it clean, and it really doesn't bother me. A hardwood floor or a rubberized floor would definitely clean up quicker, but it's not a deal breaker for me. It's not that hard to clean. A little bit of chemicals, sometimes I don't even need chemicals, I just need water, and I can clean it up pretty quick and easy. The other thing is it needs to be vacuumed basically daily. If you vacuum it daily, or more than daily, especially in environments where I have this fine red clay stuff, this fine red clay or sand, this stuff stains worse than anything. If you get it on anything that's not the same color, you can start to see it turn kind of a reddish brown. The good news is it's fairly dry here, so as long as I keep liquids off of the floor in my van, then it doesn't stain too bad and it's not a problem. But I can definitely see it with winter jumping up in the bed and winter jumping up on my bench cushion. But as long as I vacuum it quick enough, before it ever hits any moisture, it doesn't stain. And then I just wash the sheets and wash my bench cover, my bench cushion cover, and off we go. I vacuum basically every day. I highly recommend getting a vacuum, even if you have hardwood floors and rugs. You can vacuum the rugs. Mine has a different different levels, so I can turn it down and then vacuum the rug so it doesn't try to suck up the whole rug, and that helped me a ton. Just keeping my rugs clean, especially during winter, because no matter what you do, your boots come in wet and they bring in grit and stuff. So I vacuum that up. Hello, bug friends, just stay away from my face, please. So bugs are attacking my ears for some reason. Get out of here. So I talked about the positives and the negatives. There's one thing I think that's important to know is you don't need to have any rugs and stuff, but it sure is handy to have one just coming in the door. I actually have one, there it is, right on the ground there, and then I have one just inside the door so that I can get some dust off here, step, and then there's another rug to trap more dust. That's for me and Winter. We both bring in quite a bit of dust, so I definitely want to get as much off as possible before we go inside. Even with all those precautions, there's still dust that gets inside, even when I'm taking my shoes off and not letting her jump in and out. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. I'll probably look like an idiot doing this, but bugs are literally just like, you want me to fly around your head? Should I just fly around your head? Do you want me to fly around your head? Do you want me to go in your ears? You know, eyes, mouth. Oh, I can land on the camera lens too. Ridiculous creatures. Get a life. I'm not doing anything for you. Let's talk about how I clean it. So I'll just show you what I use and then describe it to you. So if you've ever gone into an automotive section, they have this stuff for getting stains out of seats. It has this little brush on it, seats or carpet or whatever in a vehicle. Usually by the time you get to this, you're pretty desperate and it doesn't work anyways. But in this, that's my luck anyways, but in this situation, it takes stains out. I kind of put a piece of tape over OxyClean and wrote any brand, but basically any brand will work. I grabbed OxyClean this time. I usually just keep one of these in the van. I spray that onto the stain, and then I just use a little scrubby brush, scrub it a little bit, and then I take my other magical tool here, paper towel, or if you want to be more environmentally savvy, you can use just a rag or a towel, which I use about half the time, depending on the stain. If it's coffee, I'm going to pull it out with a paper towel or something else really stainy. But if it's just a drip of liquid, I'll just put a towel down. So spray that on there, soak it up, and then I usually, after I soak it up with the paper towel, no matter what the stain was, I'll just throw down one of my big towels that I use for usually drying off winter or keeping water off of the floor when I shower, stuff like that. It's a fairly simple process for spraying it on there, scrubbing it, drying it up, and then throwing down a towel to protect it. And what that does is any more dust that I bring in throughout the day doesn't get to it. And then once I go to bed, I pull up that towel and it'll dry all night. And then when I wake up in the morning, I won't even remember that I had to take some stains out. So in summary, I love having the carpet in there. This is my second set of squares in there. The first set didn't look so good, but I kept it in there for a while. The second set looks better, but it's not perfect. So I'm gonna try to perfect the technique this next time. And then I'm gonna add trim around all the wood areas that I didn't last time. That's gonna make it look a lot better, and it's gonna make it way easier to vacuum and clean. I'm gonna try to cover up a lot of the areas where I get dirt trapped, especially around the borders, and then it'll cover the edges so that my rough cuts will look better. So that's a huge upgrade as far as appearance goes. Love the carpet. I highly recommend trying it out. It's a lot easier than these rugs. I buy one of these probably every 6 months. They're like $10 to $20 depending on where I buy it. I just throw it down there. I vacuum it when I vacuum the carpet, and then I vacuum under it. It stays pretty clean, but it grabs most of the dirt when I walk in, and then it gives me somewhere to leave wet shoes or just shoes in general where I don't have any issues. So again, thanks for watching the video. I hope you consider putting carpet in your build or adding it to your build down the road. These carpet squares are fairly inexpensive, fairly easy to put on there. I literally just peel and stick it down, and knowing that it's going to fail at some point. This whole van, this whole build, everything in here is going to fail at some point. So this is like my second or third rendition of this build. My carpet, the second time putting it down, really the third or fourth floor that I've put down in there, if you count all the different levels I've done or different things I've tried. I'm not afraid to experiment even living in there. Thinking that this is going to be permanent on any level is not going to work anyways, is not realistic anyways. So I've learned every time I've built into it, every time I've added something. I learn new things all the time. People tell me new things all the time. New ideas spring into my head. I'm always thinking about problems I have. I think it's like 2 to 3 months of thinking about a problem that's not like causing issues before I'll even buy materials or start to really move forward on it. I like to really think about it. So the carpet's been great. It's been a good experiment. At least 18 months with the carpet through a couple of winters. And honestly, I never noticed having cold feet this winter. I went pretty far south, but even in the 60 degree or 50 or 40 or 30 or 20 degree days I've had this year, I've never woken up to cold feet. And I wake up in the middle of the night and I wake up just before the sun rises. And that's literally the coldest time of the day, is those few minutes, the like hour or 2 hours leading up to sunrise. So it's definitely something you should consider. So thanks again for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video.